Now just imagine there's a woman sitting in a restaurant. And, you people must have gone to restaurants multiple times and you would have made a special request to the steward there. For example, this lady requested that she doesn't want any onions, but she got the wrong order. Her plate was full of them. She looks at it, considers saying something, and then decides to just pick them out herself. It's fine, she tells herself. I don't want to create a scene here. Then there's another woman in a meeting. She has the solution to the problem they're discussing for 20 minutes. But three senior colleagues are speaking, and she thinks, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should wait. Maybe someone else will say it better. And then there's a teenager at a family gathering. Maybe such incidents might have happened with you also when you were teenagers. An uncle makes an uncomfortable comment about your appearance. Now, that girl forces a smile, laughs off, changes the subject. And later she feels small and angry, but doesn't know why. What's happening here? These aren't just isolated moments of politeness or consideration. This is what I call shrinking. And today we are going to talk about how to stop doing that. So let me be clear what shrinking looks like because we've normalized it so much that we don't even recognize we are doing it. So shrinking shows up as silence when you have something to say. Let's say there's puja in the family group, the family WhatsApp group, typing out her opinion and then deleting it because someone will get offended. Then there's the Meera at the dinner table biting her tongue when her in laws discuss her parenting choices like she's not even there. Shrinking shows up as over apologizing for existing. Sorry, can I just, before asking a question, sorry to bother you, but you know, you must have seen many people or anybody from you also might be doing it. Yet you begin the sentence by saying sorry. Sorry, I know this is probably stupid, but before sharing an idea, we're apologizing as if for taking up oxygen. So shrinking shows up as people pleasing until you lose yourself. It's saying yes when you mean no because you don't want to disappoint anyone. Let's say somebody canceling her own plans again because someone else needs something, or someone staying in a conversation when that person gets disrespected because leaving would be rude. Shrinking shows up as making yourself physically smaller, you know, shoulders hunched, voice getting quieter, taking up less space on the bus seat, shrinking your body language to appear less threatening, less demanding, and I would say less present. And you know what's fascinating? We think we are being considerate. We think we are being accommodating. We think we are keeping the peace. But the reality is, we are teaching people that our needs don't matter, that our voice is optional, that our presence is negotiable. The worst part? We've been doing it for so long that it feels natural. It feels like humility, like grace, like being a good woman. But it's not. It's just shrinking. And I'll tell you, when I first recognized this pattern, even, I was at a doctor's appointment and the doctor was dismissive about my symptoms. I walked out without saying anything, and then spent the entire auto ride home fuming. And I thought, why didn't I speak up? Why did I make myself small in that moment? This is my health. And that's when I realized shrinking wasn't protecting me, it was betraying me. You know, I paid the fee, the doctor fee. Still, I couldn't muster the courage to speak up. And let's talk about what shrinking actually costs you, because it's not free. When you shrink, you lose your voice. And I don't just mean literally. You lose the ability to know what you think, what you want, what you need, because you've spent so long prioritizing everyone else's comfort over your own clarity. When you shrink, you lose relationships that could have been real. Because how can anyone truly know if you're always performing the smaller, easier, more acceptable version of yourself? You attract people who are comfortable with your smallness, not because who celebrate your fullness. When you shrink, you lose opportunities. The promotion gets to someone else because you didn't speak up about your achievements. The collaboration doesn't happen because you didn't share your idea. The change doesn't occur because you stayed silent when you should have spoken. And here's the really painful one. When you shrink, you teach the young people watching you to shrink too. Your daughter sees you apologize for nothing. Your niece watches you stay quiet when you are disrespected. Your student notices you make yourself small and they learn. This is how women exist in the world. And is that the legacy you want to leave? Ask yourself. So, how do you stop? How do you expand after years of contracting? So, let me be very clear. You're allowed to take space emotionally, physically, mentally, verbally. You don't need permission. You don't need to earn it. It's your birthright. See, expansion begins with boundaries. And I know boundaries sometimes feel selfish when you've been trained to be selfless. But here's the truth, a boundary is not a wall, it's a door. It says, this is where I end and you begin. You can come close, but you cannot cross the line. It's saying, no, I can't help with that project right now without a 20-minute explanation and three apologies. It's saying that comment makes me uncomfortable instead of laughing it off. It's saying I need some time alone without feeling guilty about it. An expansion shows up in your voice, literally. Stop ending statements with a questioning tone like you're seeking approval. Stop prefacing your expertise with, I'm not sure, but maybe. Stop waiting for a gap in the conversation that never comes. Sometimes you have to create the gap. Practice this. When someone asks your opinion, give it directly. I think we should do X. Not, maybe we could consider possibly thinking about it. Own your perspective. And then expansion requires you to stop managing other people's reactions. And this is the hardest part. You speak your truth and someone gets upset. Your immediate instinct? Shrink, backtrack, over explain, apologize. Don't. Just don't. You don't need to take less space to make others comfortable. If someone is uncomfortable with your boundaries, your voice, your presence, That's information about them, not a problem you need to fix by becoming smaller. Okay, let me share a practical example. There was once one Anjali, her mother in law constantly criticized her cooking. Every Sunday lunch, same story. 4 years, Anjali stayed silent and then cried in the kitchen. One Sunday, she said calmly, I've noticed you often comment on my cooking. If you have suggestions, I'm happy to hear them once. But the repeated criticism isn't helpful, and I would appreciate if we could enjoy the meal instead. Was her mother in law shocked? Yes. Upset? Initially. But you know what happened? The criticism stopped because growth requires presence, and presence requires you to show up as your full self, not your shrunken self. And here is what I need you to understand: expansion isn't about becoming louder, ruder, or aggressive. It's not about taking up space in a way that tramples others. It's about occupying your rightful space. It's about existing at full volume instead of on mute. It's about standing upright instead of hunching. It's about being present instead of apologizing for your presence. When you stop shrinking, something magical happens. People who are used to your smallness might resist, and then that's normal. They benefited from you being small. But the people who genuinely care about you, they'll celebrate your expansion. They'll say, I've been waiting for you to show up like this. And you'll start attracting different people. People who want to know the real you, people who respect boundaries, people who value your voice. And you'll also start experiencing yourself differently. You'll walk into rooms with your shoulders back. You'll speak up in conversations. You'll say no without guilt. You'll pursue opportunities without apologizing for your ambitions. You won't shrink to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You'll find or create spaces where you can be full sized. And here is what I want you to take with you today. You don't need to take less space to make others comfortable. Your existence is not an inconvenience. Your voice is not a disruption. Your needs are not a burden. And your boundaries are not selfish. Your ambition is not arrogance. You are allowed to be here fully, loudly, completely, not apologetically, not conditionally, not if you're perfect or polite or pleasing enough. Just here. The world has enough small women. It needs you at full size. And here's your practice for today, Iris. Notice one moment where you usually shrink. Think about it. Maybe it's that family conversation, that work meeting, that social situation, that moment when someone crosses a line. And in that moment, choose one empowered response instead. Don't apologize when you haven't done anything wrong. Don't laugh of something that isn't funny. And don't stay silent when you have something to say. And don't say yes when you mean no. And as we have heard, no is not a word, but a complete sentence. Just one today. Take up space. Use your voice. Hold your boundary. Notice how it feels. It might feel scary. Still, do it anyway. Because every time you choose expansion over shrinking, you are rewriting the story of who you are. And that story deserves to be told at full volume. And with that thought, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.